Hello and welcome to this live session on LinkedIn, Facebook and YouTube about how to achieve your goals. I'm Mark Terrell from the Motivated Business Club, and Happy New Year. And it's the start of a new year, and this is traditionally the time when people start setting goals, New Year's resolutions, making things achievement focused about what I want to do different than last year, all those sort of things. So I thought I'd do a session about how you can increase the chances of you achieving those goals. Because I think a lot of people might just think about things that they want to do, and then actually when it comes down to doing the things that they need to do for those things to actually be achieved, they don't do those things very well, and ultimately they don't achieve them. And this is a classic thing with New Year's resolutions. We all know that gyms are at their busiest for the first few weeks in January because people are thinking, well, I've eaten too much over Christmas, it's a new year, I need to be fitter, all those things that are driving us to do something. But we can do something on a short-term basis quite easily. We can do something, but the thing is, what we need to do is things that will keep us consistent. And consistency is the one thing that we need to have if we're actually going to achieve something in the long term. So I've got 4 things to share with you today. Hopefully you find them useful, and they're things that have worked for me. Various things, not just in work, and about just things with regards to fitness, looking after my well-being, and all those sort of things. And so I hope you get some value from what I'm going to share. If you have got some value, if you're watching this on replay, then please don't hesitate to leave a message, ask a question, link in with me, connect with me wherever you're watching, ask me any questions you feel you want to around goal setting, because it's an interesting subject, and I'm not going to share everything you need to know about goal setting in this session, but just some thought starters of how you can go about doing some things that will help you get to where you want to be by the end of 2023. So let me just share with you something first of all. So I've made 4 things that I think are important. So let's kick off with the first one. The first one, make them what you really want. It seems obvious, doesn't it? Why would you set goals around things you don't particularly want? But it's so easy to do because we are listening to other people's goals and what they want to achieve, and then we think that we need to do the same as them. But actually what we need to do is make them really personal, make sure that they are those things that are really important to us. And the things that you want to maybe think about are the things that really get you up in the morning, get you out of bed, those things. So for me, it's doing things that are creative and innovative. And what that means is doing things that are creating things that weren't there before, maybe combining things that help people in different ways, maybe than maybe think that you've seen other people doing things. So that's one of the things that I got to do. One of the reasons why I do these lives, actually, do something a bit creative and innovative. Hopefully it comes across as something that's a little bit fresh and not mainstream. So one thing for me is creativity. Second thing for me is about sharing knowledge. So when I'm feeling that I'm in that position of sharing knowledge, that is something that I really want to do. And so I keep doing it. And that's, again, the reason why I do regular lives, solo ones with myself. And I do we collaborate as well with other people. And you might see a bit more of that happening in 2023 for me. And then finally, it's about making a difference for me. So it's about doing things that I feel are doing things that are connected to an outcome, a purpose behind them. And ultimately, we all want to do something is that we feel that we're doing something that's worthwhile and meaningful for us. So it's connecting to what that is for you, understanding what that really is that makes you feel as if you are making a contribution and making a difference in the world. So that's the first one. Second one is make them measurable. So one of the things I see quite often is that people do not have a way of measuring progress. So you might have seen me share something recently about a device I use. So this I can show you here. This device, MyZone. So MyZone, when it comes to fitness, is a brilliant tool, and it's not obviously the only thing you can. Way that you can get some feedback as to where you are with regards to how you are measuring your progress. So when you think about if you want to get fitter or you want to lose weight, one of the things that people get disillusioned by is that they don't seem to feel that they're making any progress. And so they then make assumptions that they're doing the wrong things. It's not worthwhile. They're not going to get there. So eventually they give up and they don't do anything and they stop doing the things they started doing. So to prevent that happening, what you need to do is have a way of tracking your progress. So, and not only that, also get some sort of reward as you go along. So the way that MyZone works is that you gain points for every time you are active. So every time you are doing something that is burning calories, you get points. And depending on how intense that exercise is, to do with how your heart rate it gets to, and it measures, basically that's what it does, it taps into your heart rate. The more active and harder your heart's working, then it gives you more points because it means that you are doing more exercise. And so, as I mentioned, you get points for every time you use it. And then as you go progress, you not only get those points, you don't just accumulate points, you actually get to a point where you can jump to a different level. So it's almost like giving you a bronze, silver and gold award. They don't call them those, but what basically when you've got to a point of getting to those levels, then they reward you with, you're now at this level. And that's a reward in itself. But also what they also do is that if you don't, if you lose that consistency, you start not doing that thing every month, because it's all about doing with fitness. It's about doing something regularly rather than doing something just for a short amount of time. If you don't do it, then you get dropped back down to the next level. And so there's a punishment or a forfeit you've got to make if you don't do it. So that again keeps you on track to make sure that you're doing regular exercise to keep yourself fit, losing weight. And also there's other ways to do this. One of the things, you don't have to do it that way. You could also do it by measuring maybe your body when it comes to getting fitter. That tends to be that you want to lose weight in many ways, but actually what it means is that your body shape will change. And so there are machines that you can measure that and monitor it. So again, it's just about, if you can track it and then keep checking with it, that you can see the progress you're making, even though it doesn't appear obvious. If you do it, then you can get that feedback and you feel that you make some progress. So that's where being measurable is essential when it comes to goal setting. Make sure that you can track some sort of progress so that you don't fall off the cliff when it comes to doing what you need to do. You need to make sure that there's a mechanism there to keep you on track and it telling you that you're doing well, you are making progress, even though it might be only small and maybe not obvious. So that's number 2. Number 3 is make them action orientated. So it's about taking action. So whatever the goals you're setting, think about what actions you've got to do to make sure those goals are realized. So again, it's about going to do the things that you need to do and making sure those things are clear and what you do. So it's an easier thing to sort of associate when you talk about with weight loss or getting fitter. Is the actions you've got to do is that you've got to, whatever it is, whether it's go for a run, go to the gym, those sort of things, and make sure that those actions are regular, make sure they're trackable and that you put them in your diary in some way, and make sure you know what the actions you've got to take to get to where you want to be. So this is sort of turning into a bit of a thing all about fitness, but obviously that fitness is only one goal. You might have lots of goals associated with your business, about your personal life, and all those sort of things. So you've got to break it down into the actions you've got to take. And so it might be around relationships. You might think about, well, I want to improve certain sorts of relationships, maybe at work. And so how do I do that? And so that might be that you check in with people more regularly on a regular basis, and obviously make them specific as you can. So rather than say more regularly, well, how regularly is that? Is that weekly? Is that fortnightly, monthly, whatever it is? So make it so that you can be consistent, again, by being explicit about the things that you're going to do and what the actions you've got to take. And finally, the fourth thing that I think which works for me is, it's a really important one actually, is make them accountable. You cannot underestimate the importance of telling someone what you're doing and then telling them that I want you to keep me accountable. So if you tell someone, look, this is what I want to achieve, this is how I want to be, or this is what I want to, in 6 months' time or a year's time, this is what I want to, where I want to get to, I want you to keep me accountable. So whenever you're with me, could you ask me how I'm getting on? So then that will make sure that I do what I said I was going to do. There is lots of research about how accountability is so important. It's why mastermind groups are so important. It's because once you tell other people you're going to do something, then you feel that if you don't do it, in a way, you're sort of letting them down. You're not really, you're letting yourself down. But what you're doing is that you don't want to show up next time and say, oh, well, I said I was going to do it, but I didn't. Because what you've got to do then is you've got to explain why you haven't done it. And that's awkward, isn't it? You're not going to feel great. So you do everything we can to avoid the discomfort and feeling awkward. So those are the four things that I think that we all should be thinking about with regards to how we achieve our goals. And so just to recap the four there, I'll just take it off screen and we can flick through them again. So first of all, number one is make them what you really want, and understand what it is you really want, and not make any goals that you don't really particularly attach an emotion to. That's the key. Secondly, make them measurable, and so you have a way of tracking them and tracking progress. I could talk to you about how MyZone and there's lots of gadgets around where you can track things. So whatever it is, if you can include some sort of measurability, then again, it's to increase your chances of reaching your goal. Make them action orientated. Know what actions you need to do to take to get to your goals. And then finally, make them accountable. Tell someone about them or a group of people. And so that they are the people then will hopefully keep you on track and stop you falling off the wagon, as they say. So there we are. I hope you found that useful. If you catch this on replay, wherever you are, then please get in touch, see what any comments you've got to make about those four items. They work for me, and you might have some others that have worked for you that help you reach your goals, and ultimately that brings you more success. That's what we're looking for: more success in our lives, in many ways, in our business and in our lives. So thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect with me, at the end you'll see a quick details about how you can connect with me on my website, and obviously if you're watching this on socials, you're already connected with me somewhere along the line anyway. And I wish you well for 2023. If there's anything I can help you with, then please reach out. And until the next time I do one of these lives, take care, and I'll see you next time.